All right. Hello and welcome to Nightmare Stories of the Other Side. Joining us today, we have Jamie Cassidy, owner of J. Starmy Oddities. She is a psychic medium who has been active in the paranormal field since 2016. You can watch Jamie's work on both YouTube and TikTok and check out her shop that features haunted dolls and resin art that are all handcrafted with a unique style. Welcome in, Jamie. Tell us a bit more about yourself.
Oh gosh, I don't know where to begin. I'm a social worker full time. I think a lot of people don't know that about me. I have my master's in social work, so that's what I do. I help kids in foster care. I work for child services. So when I'm not doing that, I'm usually doing paranormal stuff. So I'm making all my dolls and going on hunts and just hanging out and having a good time. I do have a daughter who's 11. She does come and investigate with me as well. So I've been kind of training her up as well. So yeah, that's kind of what I
Well,
got going on.
well, we share one thing in common too. My daughter, she just turned 12 on Tuesday, and she's really into the paranormal, and she's part of our team and goes on all the investigations.
Yeah, some people, I get mixed reviews from people. Sometimes they'll be like, "I can't believe you take your kid into these buildings. Isn't it dangerous?" And then I get the other side where it's like, "Wow, it's so great that you're teaching her how to be careful and how to, do this appropriately and not just like making her antagonize things. Like I want her to be um like more educated on it. And mostly I had her start because she also has abilities as well. And I know that she was having a difficult time comprehending what was going on. And I didn't have anyone when I was a kid to help me understand what was happening to me. Um, I mean, my mom kind of like feels bad about it now, but she used to always say, like, oh, your eyes are playing tricks on you, or, it's just your imagination, things like that. But I felt like alone, very alone for a long
Mhm.
time. So I didn't want her to feel that. So I've been trying really hard to like make her realize it's not scary. And I think some people are like, doesn't that freak you out, when you see stuff? And I'm like, no, because it's just so normal. It's normalized for me, and I want it to be normalized for her too. I don't want her to be scared of it and
Yeah.
feel like she can't talk about it. So
So for taking her out on investigations, where has she all been?
Let's see. Well, we did a lot of Adams buildings, so she's been to Madison, she's been to Fairfield. Um, we used to live down the road from ISS, Indiana State Sanatorium, so we're out there a lot. So she's been out there a few times. I took her out to oh gosh, Ashmore. I took her and her friend out. They actually had a kids' day.
Yep.
So her friend wanted to come and check it out. So I got permission from her mom to take her daughter with me and we kind of went out there and explored a bit. So she hasn't been too far out. It's been mostly a lot of stuff close to home. But she loves it and she would like to do more. But there are her first one she did was the old Paulding jail. Shelly
Okay.
was great. I mean, I know that some places don't allow kids to come to the property, so it's just trying to find out who's willing, to do that. I mean, they usually have you sign a waiver anyway
Yeah.
for all that, but there are people, at least I think at Adams, as long as you have a private investigation, they're fine with you bringing,
Yeah.
whoever. But usually the flashlight or not flashlight tours, but like when they have bigger events, usually wants kids who are older to go to those. So it was a while before she got to do any of that stuff. So
But yeah, like in my searches, it's kind of surprising like how many locations are okay with it. There's only been like maybe four or five that said that since she's only 12 that she can't come.
yeah,
So, and it's like, Randolph County was one of them, Sweet Springs. Those are the only two on the top of my head that I can really think of. But otherwise, it's like basically everywhere is
yeah,
cool with it as long as you sign a waiver or parents with.
yep, yeah. I don't know. I mean, I would think that as long as parents are with them, it shouldn't be a
Yeah.
big deal. But, I'm not an owner of a building, so I can't say.
Yeah. So when you guys were at Indiana State with her, did you do just during the day or a full blown overnight?
We were there at night. I'm trying to think. So the first time she went, I was there overnight because I help out sometimes. So I was there, but she just came for a few hours, and hung out. And then her dad took her home, but we were there, late, and it was funny having her there because I feel like the spirits were like kind of used to me. So like I would see and hear a lot of things that people, it's kind of funny, the things that they would say. But then my daughter came and we had spirit box going, and somebody's like, "You are so beautiful," like in the spirit box, and she was like, "What?" She's like, "Did they just say that?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's so nice of them to be so kind, I guess,
Yeah.
to and not try and like, you know, because I know it's weird. There's one like older gentleman spirit that's there, and I think like sometimes he plays tricks on me. Like we'll jump out, like kind of like do this thing where it's like,
Yeah.
like jump out. And I was like this, and my daughter was with me one time it happened, and I was like, oh, and she was like, what? And I was like, nothing, because I was like, I don't want to freak her out, but it wasn't scary, it was funny. So now they were like messing with her, like
Yeah.
and it was cute, but
Yeah. We
yeah,
only got to go to Indiana State last summer for like 2 or 3 hours during the day towards the tail end of what they have for the days. But we got, not a lot of stuff going on. We did get a little bit, but we're just
yeah.
hoping someday to get there to do an overnight.
Yeah, I mean, it's really close, dear to my heart. Um, I think it really depends. I think when I first started going there, I didn't really get a whole lot either. I think the more, like I said, that the spirits seemed to be more comfortable with me, I was getting more activity. The last time we went, I have a Fent box we took with us, and we kept getting this little kid. It sounded like a little boy or something, and it was consistent. The voice was consistent. It was crazy. I was like, I've never got a little kid in this building, but it was very interesting. And it was weird because the child wasn't even, it didn't seem like the child was speaking English. It was another language, but we never figured out what exactly was
Interesting.
happening. But yeah, another one that I didn't have an issue with was the Bell Mansion in Fort Wayne. I don't know if you've
Okay.
ever been over there, but
Now we'll be going there in August.
okay. Yeah, my daughter went there. She stayed the night there. We didn't have problems either, so.
Yeah, then we also did hit Ashmore last year for a couple hours during the day, but we'll be doing an overnight there in August as well. So we're doing Bell Mansion, Rhodes Hotel, and Ashmore back to back to back.
Oh wow. You guys are gonna be exhausted.
Oh, yeah, but it's all part of the experience.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I feel like I can't do too much. Like one weekend it was like I did Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and I had to take off work the next like that Monday because I was just so drained. Like
Yeah,
just I get very drained, and especially at certain locations I get very drained. And by the last place that we went to, it was I can't remember what it was called at the top of my head, but it was some old theater that we were at in like Kentucky or something. And I think I stayed for a few hours, and I was like, I have nothing left in me. Like I'm just so completely drained. I had to leave.
yeah,
And it is not safe to be like that at some places, which I've learned the hard way. So I have to know my limits, and you know,
yeah. So let's jump to the beginning for you. What got you into the paranormal?
well, I mean, I've been dealing with it since I was a kid, like not knowing, what it was that I was seeing. But I think what I wanted to do when I started actually doing this more of like a hobby, or, actually getting into the field was my daughter being born, and knowing that, like, because she started saying weird off the wall stuff probably starting at like a year and a half, was like talking about this old woman that was in her rocking chair and was always there and like was just telling me all this stuff. And I was like, you know what? I don't know what to say to her. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to help her. And I was, I guess, searching myself to understand so that I could help her one day. So about, I think it was 2016, I went to Randolph County when Adam was running it and Adam Kimmel was out there. And so I had kind of talked to them a little bit while I was there. It was like an overnight. It was like my first one. I had some interesting things happen. But when I came home, um, there was some negativity that was happening in the house. And I ended up kind of stopping for a little bit because I was worried, but I think I wasn't prepared. Like, again, I didn't know what I was doing when I was getting into this. I didn't know how to control my own abilities. I didn't know anything. So I kind of got spooked the first time I went out. But I was determined to like understand. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna do this. So I waited, I didn't start doing paranormal stuff right away. I didn't even know that this was even something that I could get into. Like I said, when I was growing up, I just thought I was crazy. Like I thought I was alone and I never talked to anybody about any of this because I was like, if I tell them I see dead people, they're gonna lock me
Yeah.
up, you know? So I just kept it to myself for a very long time. But yeah, 2016, I was like, I need to do something. I need to like be able to help my daughter. So I just was like looking online, like what's the closest location that has like a overnight thing that I can go to just to see, just to feel it out and see how things go. And so I just kind of connected with people at that time and just kind of expanded, started checking out different places and definitely living down the street from Indiana State Sanatorium, it really helped because I was able to, go there often
Yeah.
and make friends. And yeah.
Have you ever done Billy Creek Village since it's so close to?
Yeah. I actually, which is weird because I had been out to ISS so much that everyone would ask me, like, have you, been out there? I'm like, I've been there, but I hadn't like actually did like an overnight until this past summer we went, and it was very interesting. Um, I think, I've heard all my friends have gone and they've told me all these things that happened to them. But I think one of the coolest things that we caught probably on video was you could hear like it sounded like a horse and buggy, like you could hear the clopping. And I had heard it earlier in the day and I looked around, I'm like, there's nobody around us. But I was like, oh, maybe they're off in the distance or something. So because the Amish are close by, so they
Yeah.
do travel around there. So I just had chalked it up to that. Was like, oh, it's probably a horse and buggy from the Amish around. But then it was like 3 in the morning and we hear this again. And it didn't click at first, but I was with somebody else and they were like, there it is. There's and I was like, are you sure it's not just the Amish? She's like, they're not out here driving horse and buggy at 3 in the morning. I'm like, well, I don't know. So we go outside and yet there's nobody there, but you hear it like it's right in front of you. It was crazy. I was like, that's nuts. Like I've never heard like I don't know. I guess I've heard like cats before or like, whatever, like that weren't there, but like to hear the horse clopping like right in front of
Yeah.
you and like I don't know, it was just crazy. Um you think you're gonna look out and see him riding in front of you, but it was like nothing. Like nothing's there except for the noise. It was nuts.
That's crazy.
But yeah,
So,
it was really cool.
so speaking of cats, when you were there, did you ever see the gray cat?
No.
No.
Uh-uh.
So it was my oldest daughter. She named it Billy just because, Billy Creek.
Right.
So like we knew about the cat from when Project Fear was there. And then we're like walking around. Granted, we were only there for like a half hour during the day. She goes, I wonder if we're going to see the cat. Within 30 seconds, the cat was there. And it's like, what the
I was
heck?
like, did you call?
Right.
You called for
And
me?
for a cat that, I don't know if the cat has a house or not, but that is like the softest cat I ever felt besides mine. But it's like, if you're a stray cat, you shouldn't be like this perfect. So it's like, is it real? Is it a real cat or is it a spirit cat? And
Yeah. Interesting.
But yeah, and it like followed us around the whole time.
I know that they have a cat that's there, but I don't know, like I didn't see any other cats besides the one that actually like lives in the general store.
Okay, well that's probably the same one. What is that, the gray one, or is that a different
I'm trying to remember. Maybe he is gray. I don't know. I would have to look back.
one?
I just
Okay,
remember because I'm not a big cat person, to be honest.
okay,
So like I don't really, yeah, I don't pet that because I'm allergic to cats, so I just stayed away. But I remember there being a cat there, and they were like, "Oh yeah, that one stays here in the general store," and I was like, "Well, we're gonna be sleeping upstairs, so like, is the cat gonna be up there? Because
yeah,
you know, my allergies can't really handle it." But yeah, on the property, I haven't seen any other ones, but he usually
okay,
stays inside, so that's interesting.
okay. So it's probably the same one, but it probably because it came out from around the corner. I think it was of the general store.
Hmm. Yeah, I'll have to look because I don't remember. Not sure.
So jumping back across the road to Indiana State just popped in my head. Like, have you ever like encountered anything like strange and like weird down in the tunnels as far as
No,
noises?
no, and I know a lot of people talk about the tunnels, but I've never myself experienced anything in the tunnels. Granted, I haven't spent a whole lot of time down there just because of spiders and the bats have always been kind of, rough around the times that I've been there, so I just don't spend too much time, but I've never going through them, never experienced anything or saw anything in there specifically.
Yeah, because I remember when we were there, we're down like kind of below where the nurses station is, and like we heard like loud furniture get moved around upstairs.
Oh, okay. I mean, in that area is very active around the nurses station, especially like if you're walking from, I'm trying to like imagine it. Okay. If you're walking from where the like openings of the tunnels are, or say like um where the chapel is, do you know where
Yeah,
yeah, if you're walking from that way to the nurses station on the right-hand side, there's like a hallway, and every time like there's something about that hallway. I can't explain it, but I'm not scared to go to any area in on that property except for that hallway. And I don't know why. I can't explain it. The only interaction I've ever had was like with an older woman there because I smelled very strongly like older lady perfume, if you know what I'm saying.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
I like it just smelled, and then it was like an older woman that was down there, but I've never experienced specifically anything negative, but there's just something down there that like makes everything on my body like stand up. And I just am like, I can't do it. Like every time I go there, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go down there with no flashlight. I'm just gonna hang out down there. And then I'm like trying to psych myself up and I'm like, I can't, I can't do it. There's something about it. But that area is always pretty active. So it doesn't surprise me that you would hear furniture moving being underneath that area.
All right, yeah, because that really got us like, what the heck was that? So of course we rush up there and try to, you know, see if we could figure out where it came from. But there is so much up there; it's just like it was like a needle in a haystack.
Yeah. Yeah, I think ISS is the only place I have captured, or I should say, one of my friends actually was taking the video, captured us in the chapel. We got a disembodied voice captured on video. And I mean, I've heard it before, but this was like so clear, like somebody was in the room with us that everybody was baffled. Like, no, there had to have been somebody here. And I'm like, no, nobody's here. It was just, it was very loud. I have not got it since, but that was crazy. It was like,
Definitely.
hi. We're all like, everybody turned like nobody was there.
So, what other locations have you been to investigating?
I mean, I've been to Hinsdale, Wildwood. We went to like an old YMCA, Trans Allegheny. I mean, I've been to quite a few. Eloise, which is close by. But like I said, I mean, ISS just holds a holds a special place for me.
So, out of the other locations, have you had like any experiences that really stand out?
Mm, Yes and no. I mean, we went to Hinsdale. I didn't get a whole lot there, but I did do an Estes session. And while I was doing it, I can't remember. I can't remember exactly what was being asked at the time when we looked back because we were like talking about it after. But I got like it was summer, so it was hot. This was July. Okay, it was hot, but I got so cold, like freezing, and the temp on because I have like the field cameras, the motion sensor cameras,
Yep.
and it has a temperature gauge on it. Um, and the temps went down by me during this time, but you just see me like I was like shivering. I was so cold. I afterwards had to go get a sweater and like because I was like I can't. I was like so I don't know why I got so cold, but I've never got that before. And I know a lot of people talk about like maybe like that's not a thing where like, the temperature goes down when there's spirits around. Everybody has their own thing about different stuff with the paranormal, but that was the only time I've ever experienced that where I actually got physically like freezing cold. While and I felt like I said like I was turning my whole body, and afterwards I was asked like why were you turning, and I was like I felt like somebody was right next to me like trying to sit on the because I was on a couch like kind of laid back on the like across the couch, not like sitting up, and it felt like somebody was like pushing me off to the side to like sit on the couch with me. So I like was kept moving, but I was getting cold that whole time. So it was just the jumble of things that was happening in that moment was just something I had never experienced before. Um, the only other like really concerning time I've ever had in a building was at Madison. I don't typically do things that involve other people like group stuff. So after MadCon a couple of years ago, I decided to stay. And there was, they were doing group tours. All the special guests were,
Yeah.
head of it or whatever. And I had gone up to be with the group just to see what was going on. And so much stuff happened in one moment. I was standing there. We all watched some object get thrown out of nowhere. There was nobody over in the area. We were upstairs in the attic, and everybody was sitting down while it was CJ and Chris Baird. They were up there, talking, trying to do some kind of like Estes session. So everybody's seated. I'm standing by the wall. Something gets thrown towards me. And I was like, what was that? Then something happened to someone else, like it was in concession. And then all of a sudden um, I felt very overwhelmed, and I started having visions of me throwing myself off of the building. And
Hmm.
yeah, it was really scary, and I started panicking and was like having a panic attack and had to leave because I was like crying. Like I've never got that emotional, but I was like I can't go back in the building because something is, and I don't think it was something from the building. I think it was something that someone else had brought with them that was trying to attack me. And this is exactly why I don't go with random strangers to haunted places because these are the things that happen where, maybe people don't have the greatest intentions going into the field, and or they might be into something that isn't positive,
Yeah.
and they bring this kind of energy with them. But I think the realization that something like could have happened. I mean, those visions were so real to me that I was like really wanting. I had like a really strong urge to go to the balcony and jump off. And I've never had that. Like I'm not suicidal. I'm not I've never had those thoughts or feelings, but that was just really real and it was scary. So I removed myself from the property because I was like I can't do
Yeah,
that.
definitely.
But again, I don't think it was the building. I think it was somebody that was there. And again, that's why I don't do those things. I usually only participate in private investigations because I want to know who I'm with at all
Yeah,
times
for
and what their
sure.
intention is before I enter any place. So
So, do you have any interesting stories from Wildwood? That's another location that I've always wanted to get to.
yeah. Yes and no. I mean, it was pretty quiet when we were there. It was weird because we didn't get anything when we were in the rooms, but then when we would leave, like the vent box we had on would like you would hear a male's voice that kept talking, but he wouldn't talk while we were there. But he when we would leave, it was like he called me the B word and was like, get the F out of here,
Yeah.
whatever was what we got on camera. And it's like, but you weren't saying anything while we were there. You didn't want to say anything while we're in the room, but now you want to talk crap as soon as I walk out, you know? Um, but yeah, it was a pretty quiet night. Again, like we got evidence, but it was everything when we were not even in the room. So, it's like that with location. Sometimes it's just a quiet night.
Yeah.
I had that happen at the Ross house too. It was pretty quiet when we were there, so I didn't get very much of anything.
Yeah, I've had a few investigations like that where there was one I recall last summer. We went, started investigating at 8 o'clock, and by 10 o'clock, we're just like, we're done. It's like
Yeah.
there's a smaller location, we weren't getting anything, and there's certain floors that were like not safe to walk on, or there was like a bat that would just like swoop at you. So it's just like, you're gonna get that no matter where you go.
Yeah. Yeah, I know a lot of people be like, why didn't you go live or why didn't you post anything, from this location? It's like, because there wasn't anything to post. I mean, it just happens sometimes, You might get one thing or nothing, or it could be crazy, but it's most likely, I mean, 75% of the time it's kind of quiet, for the most part. You might get here and there, evidence, but I think people see paranormal investigating on TV all televised, like they try and chalk it up like, oh my God, you hear that? And it's like, that's not how it is. It's
No.
not like that when you go investigate for real. It's usually quiet. Sorry, my daughter just walked in and wants to say hi.
Okay.
Hi.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Pretty good.
You eating something? You got blue on your mouth?
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, normally my daughter sits in on our podcast, but she was at grandma's all week and she goes, I'm too tired to sit there and talk to people.
Aw.
I go, well, you don't talk half the time, but
Yeah.
but I'm like, I don't blame you.
As she had asked, she's like, can I be on it too? And I'm like, it's just us talking. It's nothing exciting. You just hang out. So she's been in a room playing Minecraft or something. I don't know what she's
Oh,
doing.
there we go. Doing kid stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, any other locations that you've been to that you haven't mentioned?
Um, I don't, yes, I've talked about holding jail. We, um, yes, yes. She's back.
If she wants to sit in, she can join us. She can tell us some of her experiences.
You want to talk about any of your experiences? Well, come over here. A
So blue.
little bit.
Okay. So, my favorite was probably the Bell Mansion and Paulding Jail because it was like we spent the night at the Bell Mansion and it was very it was nice because I mean it felt like good, and when we were like there, I actually took pictures there and made me look like a doll, but um um and it was just like weird because you could like feel the like energy around like what the room we were in. It was like it felt cold and like kind of creepy because like I felt like the space, like that space in the little door
Oh,
was
there's like a little attic space
Okay, this is at
up top.
this
Bell
is at the Bell
Mansion.
Mansion. Okay.
Yeah. They have like the main room, which I think was an old I don't know if it was like an old ballroom or it was like the room that the women would hang out in, but it's a bedroom now. There's like a little I don't know what you would call it. It's kind of like a small door that goes into like an attic space.
Okay.
And they kind of have it blocked off for a child spirit that is there or they believe is there. Um, and she was like kind of connecting with that, I guess, while we were there. So she liked it.
I'll have to make note of that. I'll have to stick my daughter in there.
Yeah. Yeah, it seemed to like Melina in there, so we stayed in there. We slept, overnight in that room. So she seemed to have no problem falling asleep. So
Oh, there you go.
And we spent the night at the Paulding jail.
yeah, she actually slept in a jail cell at the Paulding
Nice.
jail. Um,
It was so fun and it was so hot.
it was hot.
Just burning.
Yeah, but yeah. You
So
like
if you
you
had,
like Madison?
what's that?
What's Madison?
MadCon.
Oh, right, MadCon. Yeah. Yeah, MadCon's probably my favorite out of like,
Convention.
all of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the place, Madison.
Madison, yeah.
It's probably my favorite because I love like going there and like I actually know the place really well because I've been there so many times. And it's like you get like when you're there, it's like kind of like it feels like a home, but it feels like haunted because it's like there's like this space that is like nice, and then there's a space like in the basement where it's like weird because it's all like dark and stuff. But I think it's a great experience there because I mean it is falling down like the roof, but I think they just got the roof fixed. But you know.
Well, when Melina first went there, she had walked around and she was like, "Yeah, I think there's bodies in the walls." And Adam was like, "Well, when we first got this place, they told us that they thought maybe like they were putting bodies like in the walls or hiding bodies in the walls." And I was like, "Oh, that's interesting. Well, apparently there are bodies in there because Melina seemed to think when she walked in that like there were bodies in the walls." I know there was also like a older gentleman that her and her friend had said that they saw in there, but I mean nothing bad, all
So
good
yeah,
things.
we'll be going there Memorial Weekend. So if you had to pick a spot, so my daughter is your age. If you were to pick a spot where to make her do a solo in Madison, where would it be?
To make her do like a solo like of investigating? Or
Yeah, so like,
Oh.
be in a certain area for like half hour by yourself.
How about that hole we stuck you in?
Oh my gosh, the hole is probably very like intense because it's like it feels like someone's like pulling on you or something. Like you can like feel like someone touching you in there. It's weird. It's like I don't know. She would probably be scared to go in there because someone was buried in there.
Apparently they had dug up a body. There's like a hole down in the basement. We stuck her in there and made her do Estes for like an hour.
Well, let's put it this way. My daughter, when we were at Waverly Hills last summer, we were there with like, it was like a group investigation, but she was only one of three people that went all the way down to the bottom of the death chute.
Oh, really?
So she has a little fear, but not too much. So I think she can handle anything.
With Waverly, so I walked down there and I was like, oh, it's not too bad. No, it's the walk up that kills you, really. But I was like halfway through, I was like, I need a break and like catch my breath. But I swear I was like, there's somebody who stays here, like in the chute specifically to watch people walk down there and walk back up and like suffer. Like they think it's funny to watch them struggle trying to get up those steps.
Yeah,
And I was like, well,
I only went down about a fourth of the way. I'm just like, and I was hurting.
yeah. No, we went all the way down and I was like, oh yeah, that's not that bad. And I was like, wait, we still have to go back up. And I was like, yep, got halfway back up. And I was like, I need to sit and take a breath because I was like so out of breath. And then I was like having this feeling where like somebody's laughing at me. And I was like, oh, so it's funny. Like, yeah, somebody's here. They just like hang out around here just to watch people.
Yeah, definitely. So for you, what would your bucket list location be if you could go do an investigation?
Me,
Or
um,
both, actually, both of you.
okay. Uh, I do want to go to Penhurst. That is definitely on my bucket list. Um, I did go to Trans-Allegheny. We went though with like it was like a group thing, so I want to go back for a private because it was pretty quiet, but so we were walking down a hall and I was wearing like yoga pants. And something grabbed my pants and like pulled it and let go, and it like snapped back at me. And I was like, I just like kind of screamed, and I was, my friend's like, what? And I was like, nothing, nothing. It's fine. Everything's okay. We're fine. And I was like, I've never had something like that happen. So, but then the rest of the night was like super quiet. So I just thought that was really weird. So I really want to go back and do a private there. That is definitely on my bucket list, but I have never been to Penhurst. That's something that I've always wanted to do. That's always been top of my bucket list. But it's just expensive and a little out there. We did
Yeah.
kind of talk about doing it for my birthday this year, but unfortunately, I have to have surgery at the end of the month. So that kind of got nixed for this year. So maybe next year.
All right. How about for you?
Is there any place you want to go we haven't gone?
You know a place where like those people got murdered, by this like they got murdered like with an axe.
Oh yeah, Feliska.
Yeah, I wanted to go there because I thought it kind of looked like a cool place to go.
I think it'd be interesting to have her go to Villisca, being a child there, just to see what that would kind of bring out.
Yeah.
But I've never been there myself, so
Yeah, neither have I.
yeah, maybe one day. But
One day.
we'll see how the paranormal field fares on that.
Any other locations you want to go to besides Villisca?
Um, Back to Madison.
You want to go back to Madison?
Of course, I always want to go there.
Yeah.
Madison's my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to going there.
Have you guys been yet?
No, I have not.
No. It's a good place. Got a decent amount of activity every time we've gone, so it's pretty
Yeah,
good.
on the way out there, we're doing a little 5 hour pit stop at Eloise. I got invited out there actually through the podcast from a guest I had on that they want me to come out there and do one of their podcasts, and then we get to do a mini 3 hour investigation.
Oh, that'd be cool. That there's definitely activity there. I had gone with friends who were there as special guests in October, and we didn't get to like stay too long to like investigate ourselves. We were kind of investigating with people who run tours there. They were
Okay.
doing like a special thing for their own TikTok or something. But I was like, this room specifically, like when we had first walked in, I was like, there are women in this room that are all just standing there staring. And it was like really kind of freaky. I was like, I don't know about that room. And then there was another room where there was like a male, but I felt like he wasn't supposed to be there. So I'd asked them, they were like, this is a woman's like ward. And I was like, oh, well, there's some gentleman here. I don't know if he's a doctor. I'm not really sure, but he also acts like he's not supposed to be here. That's like kind of hiding out in one of those rooms. So if you can go on the women's ward, I feel like that was like probably the most active that I was able to like myself, like I was able to see without equipment was on that floor. So ask them about that floor and I would definitely head there and check that out.
All right. Yeah, because I'm not for sure like how much of the building we get to actually explore, but
Hmm. I think it's just the top couple floors they have access to because the bottom floors are an escape room.
okay.
Yeah, they do like the escape room down there, and then like their haunted house is like kind
Yeah.
of the first two floors, I think. So I think it's the third and fourth floor or something they have open for investigation.
Okay. But still getting there is one thing.
Yeah. So where are you guys from? Where do you
We're
live?
in Minnesota.
What part?
So I'm up in the Twin Cities area.
Okay.
And
My
I'm in
my
southern
brother, yeah,
Minnesota.
go ahead.
And I'm in southern Minnesota, kind of south
Southern.
central.
Okay. My brother lives in Mankato, so he's like kind of, I think, west of the cities.
Yeah,
Hmm.
Southwest.
Yeah. So we go out there from time to time. So I know a little bit, but not much about Minnesota.
I like Mall of America.
Of course, you love Mall of
Yeah,
America.
we're not going to get into the Mall of America.
I bet your daughter's always like, let's go.
I used to work at Nordstrom there for 5 or 6 years, so I was there like
All the
5 or 6 days a week for that, and I'd have family come. Let's go to the Mall of America. I'm like,
time.
I just
I mean, to be
left.
fair though, like what else is there to do in Minnesota?
Oh, there's a lot up here that's not the Mall of America.
It depends on, I mean, like I like going up there. I think the summer is amazing. It's like not super humid and it's great. Like the weather was great. I love going on the lake, but in the winter, Minnesota sucks.
It does.
It's
I
a
agree.
little too much snow going on for me.
I'm like, why do we still live here?
Yeah. I always ask my brother that. I'm like, why? Like briefly, we went in August and it was like it was great weather, and I was like, "Oh, you know what? I could live here because that's my like that's my weather, a nice crisp like 70, like that's great. 70 degrees, that's like perfect. But I'm not doing the snow and everything else. We went up for what was it? It was Thanksgiving one year. And my brother's like, maybe it's okay if you don't want to come because there's supposed to be this big snowstorm. And I'm like, I live in the Midwest. Like it snows here. I know how to drive. Like it's not a big deal. Yeah, it was a big deal. I had a car at the time and there was no cars on the road except for me. No cars had been on the road, so it was like a ton of snow and my car's just literally hitting the snow and it's going above like the hood and like onto my windshield constantly and I was like we're gonna die as we're like driving and she's in the back like freaking out because
I'm
she's
like crying. Like I'm like, are we gonna die, mommy?
you can't see anything. It was pure white and you
Yep.
couldn't see the road. I was like, we're gonna end up in a lake somewhere. Like, this is really dangerous. Why did I decide to do this? And it all happened so quick because like I think we came in through maybe Iowa or something, and it was like not that bad. And I was like, yeah, we're still good. And it was like, bam, like we hit, I don't know. It was all of a sudden there was like lots of snow, no cars. I was pretty scared. I was like, "Yep, that's it for me. I'm done with Minnesota in the winter. I'll just come and visit in the summertime."
Yeah, summer's the best,
Yeah.
except for the mosquitoes.
Well, yeah, those are terrible, but okay, go.
She's
All right.
bailing.
Well, she's not feeling well, so she's trying not to cough.
Oh,
So
okay.
she was like, "I got to cough. I'm gonna go." I was like, "Okay."
All right. So let's talk about your shop a little bit. What kind of
Yeah.
stuff do you sell in your shop?
So mostly it's like dolls. I was originally I kind of started the whole thing because I love the way that people make porcelain dolls into like creepier dolls. I just thought that was so cool and it kind of started as this like little hobby where I was just like, "Oh, I'm going to make my own because I don't have a lot of money. I'm a single mom. I'm like I can't afford a $400 doll." And then I was like, "You know what? Maybe I'll make more affordable dolls that like other people like me could maybe, have for themselves." So that's kind of where it started. And it kind of grew into the thing that it is now. And I'm in here, I'm making dolls and I make resin art, which is just fun. It's just something that I like to do. But the dolls are my main like passion. I just always was super creeped out by porcelain dolls to begin with. I didn't understand why anyone would ever want to own one. It didn't make any sense to me, especially as a kid. I was like, why do you have these? Like, what is the purpose of these dolls? They just stare at you. They're like creepy. But now I'm like, I make them creepy in like a way that I can handle.
Okay.
My kind of creepy. So I just kind of creepify them up. And, a lot of the dolls are dolls that I hand pick. Like, I find them at antique stores, thrift stores, whatever. I'll pass on dolls if I don't feel any kind of like connection with them. But I have also been donated dolls where people are like, there's something wrong with this doll. I don't want it in my house. And I'm like, I will gladly take it from you. Or just people have them sitting around. They're like, do you want these? And I'm like, yeah, sure. But a lot of the dolls that I connect with, I'll take with me on, on our investigations. So I've taken them. I had one that I did take with us when we were at Hinsdale and Wildwood because we did those in the same weekend. But the doll was not a fan of Hinsdale, so I had to keep it in the car. I don't know what was going on, but it did not want to be in there. Uh, so I do feel like they're like my kids almost, before I sell them. They have a special place in my heart, but I try and make them all kind of like their individual self. I just kind of look at them and decide how I'm going to, make them up. And
Yeah.
yeah.
So what do you have besides surgery at the end of the month, which is always no fun?
Yeah.
What do you have planned for this year?
So there's not a whole lot right now because I'm going to be like basically wheelchair bound for 3 months, and that kind of limits what I can do. I mean, I'm going to be doing um, Fairfield County's convention. I have that set up. Indiana State's convention. They'll have I think it's in August.
Yep.
And then we have MadCon, but we haven't really scheduled any investigations because I don't know what my mobility is going to be like at this time. I mean, I've been, invited to like go places, but I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to walk upstairs. I don't know how that's going to work. So I'm kind of playing it by ear right now, but I mean, like I said, I really wanted to get to Pennhurst this year. I planned it for April. Like it was supposed to be, my birthday is April 21st. It was supposed to be, around that time. That was the plan, but then found out I had to have this surgery, and now I'm kind of like, well, I guess we'll schedule it another time once I know what's going on. But a lot of times things just pop up, people are like, hey, we're going here this weekend. You want to come? And I'm like, sure. Why not?
Yeah, we'll be at Fairfield for the con.
Oh, good.
That's the end of our mega road trip that we're doing.
Good. So you guys will be able to see me in
Yeah.
person, all crippled.
Well, but it's like, because we have a booth there, but I don't know how much time I'll actually be spending at the booth because I also do photography. So it's like,
Okay.
I'm like, when I go to locations, I'm also taking pictures of everything. So I'll probably be roaming around quite a bit, leaving with 300 some pictures.
Well, come see us, come take pictures. I'll be probably sitting there. Usually I try and get up and check everybody else's stuff out, but I have a feeling I'm probably going to be stuck sitting at my booth the whole time. So everybody's going to have to come to me this year and come say hi.
Hopefully the weather will be good too, because
I
being
hope
in
so.
a wheelchair and if it's raining out, that probably won't be any
Oh
fun.
my God, I know. I'm already like, okay, I'm like trying to make sure everybody is like, okay, who's going to help set up the tent and who's going to help set the stuff up, because I can't, even if I can crutch my way around, like it's going to be difficult to be on crutches and try and like set all this stuff up. So I'm trying to like delegate like people who are already going to be there to like help with things, because I'm like, worst case scenario, I need a plan for worst case.
Yeah. Is
But
your daughter going to be with, or?
yeah, she'll be there. I can't get there without her being there. She's like, you're taking me.
Well, maybe her and my daughter could do a little mini day investigation together.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think one of the girls who are in the paranormal group that I investigate with, her daughter should also be there. I think she's 13, so they're all
Okay.
around the same age, so they can all go around and
And then
hang
we
out
have
together.
our other team member, Carrie. her daughter just joined our team and she's 14. So
Oh, nice.
4
Well,
junior investigators,
yep.
they could get in a little trouble, but it'll be kind of cool for them to go around and check things out.
Yeah. I usually try and bring my equipment and for the most part, I let Melina, take it, but she has some of her own. I know she has one of Lauren's crystal pods that
Okay.
she likes to take around, but sometimes I'll let her take the Fent box, but I'm like, it's very delicate. Don't mess with it. Don't touch it.
Oh yeah,
The
it's like I
equipment is
just
expensive.
yeah, recently I just got one of those from I can't remember what the company is, but it's like a music box. It was like
Mhm.
$400. It's like
Yeah.
I told my daughter, like, no, you're not touching that.
Yeah. Yeah. There was a long time I wouldn't let her touch. I have one of those Boo Buddies, like the big one.
Oh
And I
yeah.
was like, no, I was like, that was expensive. You're not messing with it. But I'm just like, whatever. But
It's like
but
you can use the $100 music box that we got from our friend Tina, but you're not touching the big one.
yeah. She'd be like, what equipment can I take? And I'm like, you can take the EMF reader, like all the cheaper stuff. Here's some
Oh
cat
yeah.
balls for you.
But yeah, Natty, she loves the EMF reader. That's like her toy. She's like, where is my toy?
Yeah, I had to get her some of her own stuff because I was like, all right, stop asking me for my stuff. Here's yours. You can,
Yeah.
you can walk around with your own stuff now. But yeah, it's nice having a kid who's not like afraid of this kind of stuff, I mean, I guess she grew up with it, so she can't really be too afraid, but I
Yeah.
know some of her friends won't even like talk about the stuff or like I have my office downstairs and it's full of dolls, as you can imagine, and they're like all terrified to even go near my office. And my daughter's like, so what? Who cares? I get a lot of those around Halloween time. People always tag me in that. It's like, it's not elf on a shelf, it's doll in the hall or something like that.
Nice.
And they're like, you should do that to your daughter. And I'm like, she would be like, why is the doll out of your office? Like she would not be scared by that. She would be like, why is the doll not where it's supposed to be?
Yeah. Well, like I just found out a couple nights ago that my nephew and his team, they're going on August 1st. They're doing an overnight at Indiana State. And they invited myself and my team member Chad to go with. And I was telling Natty that she's like, well, do I get to go? It's like, I'm like, I don't know. I'll have to ask them and see if they want you to come along.
Yeah. It happens a lot where I'm like, she'll ask and I'm like, well, it's not my investigation. I was asked to go and I don't want to be like, hey, can my 11-year-old kid come with me? Or,
Yeah.
like I don't, you know, whatever. But I mean, I've asked before. When we went to the Ross house, I had never been there, and I went with Christopher Jansen, and he was like, "Yeah, I don't think it's a place that like, he's investigated with her before, but he's like, I don't think it's a place that you should bring her when you haven't been here before." And I was like, okay, I respect that because if it's not safe for my kid to be there, I don't want her to be there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I did a podcast with him about a month ago. He's a great guy.
yeah, I love
Yeah.
Christopher.
He's going to be joining us at Post Town and Old Hospital in College Hill in June.
That's another place I want to go to, the old hospital in College Hill. I've not been there yet. So
Yeah. I
bucket.
was like, I just kind of threw that one in last minute on the trip. I'm like, oh, we're only going to be a couple hours from there. Why not throw another one in?
Yeah. Yeah. I was talking to my team about that last year. I was like, okay, these are the places I wanted to go. I can't believe I forgot about that. But yeah, that's definitely one place I'm like, you know what, there's something there that that's telling me that I need to like go check it out. But
You know,
well, it'll stay on the bucket list for now until
next
things
year.
improve. Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's all the questions I have and all the topics I want to touch base on. So I will turn it over to Laurel in case he has anything he wants to ask. And then for your opportunity to shout out your social media, which he does too.
Okay.
Yeah, so my only question is the Fent box that like old-timey looking radio thing?
Yeah, you want to see it? I have it right here, actually. Hold on.
Sure. Oh yeah, that's That's cool.
box.
Nice.
And then I've got my logo on the back. So yeah, it's my favorite piece of equipment. Jeff made it with love.
So for your logos, do you have those as stickers?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll definitely be picking a couple of those up at Fairfield because
Yep, I have those out with the, I have another little sticker. So my cousin actually does all the art for like my stuff. So she made that design and then she also made another design for my YouTube channel. So I usually have those out. So you have to come by and pick them up.
oh, definitely because I put other team stuff on the back of my car, so I represent.
Oh, nice. I know. I'm like, I need to change it up because it says on the sticker, it says like J Star on her little hairpiece, but or J Star Me, it says on the hairpiece, but I'm like, it doesn't actually have the full name. I need to change that. I need to like have like J Star Me and then oddities underneath it or something, just so
Yeah,
people actually know what the logo is. It was an afterthought. I didn't think about it until later. And then I was like, you know what? I probably should have did that.
yeah.
Okay, so the last thing we do on every podcast is give you an opportunity to shout out your socials, point people to your shop, really anywhere you want them to look.
Well, if anyone's interested in any haunted dolls, they're on my Etsy shop. It's just etsy.com/jstarmeoddities. All my resin stuff's on there as well. I do have some new stuff that I put on there. I started making some cauldrons. They're glow in the dark tops. They're really cute. And something new that I'm going to have this year, I actually started making some keychains because I had some interest in that. So I was just trying that out. That'll just be like an added thing that people can add on to their order if they want that, you know, little something. But like I said, I mean, the dolls are my main passion. So my babies are on there if people are interested. I do have a Facebook for my shop as well as an Instagram, and my personal pages should be linked on there as well. My YouTube channel is under J Star Me Paranormal. I will say that I have not posted in quite a while. I kind of had decided to do like a 360 and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna start something different on there. So my older videos are on there. I have posted reels that are because some people don't have TikTok. So some of the TikTok videos of our investigations are on my YouTube, but I'm gonna start making the longer videos after my surgery's done and we get out there some more. So need to promote that a little bit more because I need to start doing more promotion for my YouTube.
All right. Well, we thank you for being on tonight.
Of course, thank you for asking me. It's been
Yes,
fun.
definitely.
Well,
All right.
anytime you guys, I'll head back and chat with you if
All
you want
right.
me to.
Sounds good.
All righty.
All
Well,
right. You have
thank
a
you
great
so
rest of your night.
much.
You're welcome. All right.
Bye.
Bye.